Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Purple haze coming all around. Don't know which pine boy must fall down.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with a legendary drummer from some amazing bands, and we got some great news that we're going to talk about. So let's welcome to the show Carmine Appice.
Hello.
I'm very excited because last time we talked, we were talking about, the return of Cactus and Temple of Blues 1. Yeah. And now we have Temple of Blues 2. So that's pretty cool.
It is cool. It took a long time to do it, it took about eight months to put it together. I mean, it was ready in December, but we waited until April 3rd because we were putting together this live Cactus show, for charities. And that was April 3rd. We did the show, so they released it April 3rd, which is less than a month ago.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to love it.
Oh, I was listening to it. I think it's incredible. I love that version. I love the version of every song, but I really loved a lot Purple Haze. That was pretty cool.
That's pretty wild, right?
I know.
The one, I got to understand, number one, nobody on this record or the last record was ever in the same room together.
Wow.
This was all done individually in everybody's studios, starting with the drums, including Purple Haze. So Purple Haze happened by Cleopatra Records owned the rights to her vocals after she passed. So they called me and said, look, we'd like to do Melanie and Cactus together. This was before we're doing this album. And I said, really? Melanie? He says, yeah, we got a version of Melanie singing Purple Haze, which is awesome. So I said, well, let me hear it. So they sent it to me, just the vocal.
Right.
And I said, wow, that's Melanie. It's killer. I mean, some of the screams she has is like Janis Joplin, And I said, yeah, we can do this. So the way we would do it is we got the tempo, like whatever it was, and then we take her voice and we stretch it along the tempo to make sure it's in tempo on a click. That's the only way you could do these things studio to studio in people's houses. So once we did that, then I did drums to it, right? And where the solos were going to be, we had to cut the vocal, leave room for the solos, and continue the vocal. So we had to edit, and according to the drum arrangement that I put together, okay? And then we got my guitar player to play the guitar on it, and he put some bass on it too to make it a full demo. So now we got her voice, drums, bass, and guitar. Right. And then our normal bass player, James Computer, was out of town. He couldn't do it. So we got Tony Franklin to play on it. Because Tony played with Cactus a bunch of times, played in Venezuela, played in Europe, played in America, so he's like a secondary Cactus bass player. And then he played on it. And then we gave it to my engineer, Pat Regan, co-producer of this album, and he mixed it. And it came out fantastic. And when I talk about this, I say, man, this track is a long way from the roller skate song.
Right. Totally.
And when she screams a couple of times, it's awesome. I said, wow. We knew Janis Joplin in the old days, and know what she kind of sounds like. And when she did those couple of screams, I said, well, man, this sounds like Janis Joplin. It doesn't sound like Melanie, So it came out fantastic. And Artie Gillen is our guitar player and with Cactus, and he's been with us for a few years now. He's a monster. He's just a monster player. And he did the solos on that. And then after the solo, we cut, and we went to this, just a voice and all kinds of effects, You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, totally.
And then it comes back in, then it ends with her voice.
Yeah.
Like all psychedelic,
I love it.
Yeah, and Jimmy would have loved it.
And I want to know too, what was it like to be around people like Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, like that?
Back in those days, it wasn't a business yet.
Yeah,
It really wasn't. Led Zeppelin, Vanilla Fudge and Led Zeppelin, $4.50. Come on, that's ridiculous. But it was, like it was just hanging out. There's just people, musicians hanging out, talking about stuff, and hanging out, playing blues, and Hendrix. I knew Hendrix before he was Jimi Hendrix. He was Jimmy James, and we played clubs together in New York.
nice.
We would play sets like 30 minutes each, and midnight they would play records, and we'd have an hour. And we go up to in the city. We played the West Side. In those days, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Panic in Needle Park, and that area, which is now very exclusive, high end. My wife had an apartment there we just sold. It was a fortune to sell it.
Wow.
And in those days it was junk. It was people junk on, junkies. It was hookers. It was pimps, all that stuff. And we went over in the middle of the show. We had an hour off. We went up to some black prostitute's apartment, smoking some pot. And Jimmy would say, "Oh man, I got to make it. I want to make it out of here. I want to make it." For me, I didn't care if I made it. I want to make a living like my drum teacher. I had a nice, little house in Brooklyn. He had a drum room. He had a Cadillac. I said, "Hey, that's living,"
Right.
And we played it together a lot. I think that gig we played was either 2 weeks or a month long. So I got to know him, and then we started making this Vanilla Fudge. I started seeing this guy in the press playing with his teeth, and I said, "With his hair like that?" And I said, "That must be Jimmy James." And we called Jimi Hendrix. Next time I saw him was in London, and we reminded him of that day of smoking pot, talking about this. And he said, "Oh yeah, I remember that." He goes, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I play with Vanilla Fudge." And he goes, "Oh, I love the fudge."
Nice.
So it was like immediate. We got back together and we did a lot of gigs with him, and it was very timid, kind of soft-spoken, kind of like Prince. Same
Right.
guy, very introverted, till he gets on stage, But he was a nice
I think
guy.
that's a lot of people, right? A lot of musicians, people
lot of
think
guitar
they're like
players.
they think they're the
lot-
most extroverted people out there, but they're only like that on stage.
Yeah, it's like guitar players. Jeff Beck, same thing, introverted, John Sykes was not so introverted, but he was in between. He was like a normal guy. Jim McCarty was a normal guy. Different guitar players, but it was great. And the one jam with Janis Joplin, we had a Miami Pop Festival. Vanilla Fudge headlined it, and we were jamming with Johnny Winter. We were playing the blues with Johnny Winter and her singing. And after she was singing, Johnny's playing guitar and a solo, and she come up to me and said, "Hey, drummer boy, have some of this." She stuck this bottle in my face, tipped it up. I went, "Whoa," it's Southern comfort, I almost fell off the drum stool, She was drinking it like easy, but we did a lot of gigs with her and Big Brother and Vanilla Fudge. It wasn't a business yet. Just everybody having a good time.
Yeah, I imagine there was probably a lot more camaraderie back then than now, maybe because you didn't have the interference to get people like not a community.
Well, there is a lot, but I try and with these albums, we try and create that.
Yeah.
Again, we did the gig. I just did an interview with a guy that was at the gig, and he noticed. He said, "Man, there was such great camaraderie with everybody." We had Billy Sheehan, Tony Franklin, Eric Gales, Pat Travers, Bumblefoot, my singer from the Rod Show, Doug Pinnick, all on stage.
Nice.
And it was really fun. Everybody had a great time. Everybody, when we left, said, let us know if you want to do it again,
I love that. I love that.
It was fantastic. And we filmed it and we recorded it. So maybe we'll end up releasing it and giving it to a charity. We did this charity here. We gave thousands of dollars to all these different charities, like Tunnel to Towers and Music Cares, Music Will, St. Jude Hospital, It was great doing this, giving money to them. And now we videoed. If we get it out, whatever we make on that, we just give it to them. It's a great feeling to help people like that.
Absolutely.
And everybody felt it. I mean, we sat around. We did it at this Arcadia Theater in St. Charles, where everybody's played there. And the owner, Ron, was a friend of mine. When me and Vinny were doing Hanging and Banging podcast, we had 85 episodes during COVID. And Ron was our other host, as the three of us. So we became really close and all that. So, we played his venue many times. He's always done great with it. So he had a big dinner for everybody. It was like, I don't know how many people there was, like a lot of people. And I sat with Billy Sheehan and Doug Pinnick next to me. I was here, and who was over there? It was Eric Gales over here and his wife. So it was like all five of us, and we had some amazing talking.
That's great.
About everybody's, when they grew up and what they did and how they did it, and it was amazing. And then everybody on the whole table was talking like that, and it was just great. There was no attitudes, no problems. It was fantastic.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, you say, "Hey, Eric, we don't need you yet. Go, hold on for a minute." Okay, he goes sit down. It wasn't a way. What do you mean? You know what I'm saying? No attitudes. It was beautiful. They were beautiful.
And when you first started,
we had three bass players, and I said, "Billy, you play. Tony, you lay back on this one. James, you lay back. Then Tony, you play. Billy, you lay back. No attitudes. It's great."
That's the way it should be. And when you first started Cactus, could you ever imagine that you would be putting out a new album in 2026?
I didn't even imagine I'd be around in 226.
Right.
I mean, I'm living in my 80th year right now.
It's amazing, right? I never thought either. I'm from the 80s, so I thought we were going to just all blow up, and I wasn't even going to make it past 20.
Well, in the 60s were worse than the 80s. I mean, everybody was doing drugs.
Yeah.
LSD and uppers and downers. And
well, was it true that Jimmy used to have LSD in his headband when he performed on stage? Jimi Hendrix, yeah.
I never knew that. I never heard about that.
That's something I've read before. I'm like, who knows if somebody just said it.
Some of these things are created by these writers.
Exactly.
Like somebody just said, I saw something that said, Jimmy Page said it wasn't Led Zeppelin with the mud shark. It was Led Zeppelin's tour manager and Carmine Appice. It wasn't me, It was Led Zeppelin. It was John Bonham. It was our roadie, one of our roadies. John Bonham, Richard Cole, one of our roadies. And that's it, Well,
nowadays,
I had to leave. It was my room. I had to leave. It was so disgusting, But anyway, that's what I'm saying. These writers write things, and they don't even know what they're talking about.
Well, nowadays, nobody even checks either. Like, right? You could post anything you want on social media, and people take the ball and run without even checking.
Social media is such bullshit. All my people say, post it on social media. You got a new album, post it. I go, why? Nobody gives a fuck on social media. And my proof is I do things specifically. Like I put my grandson, I just had a new grandson, 1,000 comments. 1,000 comments. Okay. Then I'll put on Cactus playing here, blah, blah, blah. 2 comments. And then I'll put on, I'm thinking of changing my image, my photo, what do you think? 800-900 comments. 58,000 people viewed it. And then I'll put on, we're playing so-and-so, or an album's out, 2 comments. I said, that's all it's all about is bullshit,
Yeah, you're not wrong.
They don't want to hear about what you're doing in your career. They want to see what kind of bullshit you put up.
You're not wrong. I go through it all the time, too.
I'm dying. I stopped dyeing my hair from black and purple to what it looks like now. What do you think? Tons of comments. Whenever you say, what do you think?
Yeah.
Your thought. Tons of comments.
Well, that's like with me. I had up until last year for a while, my trademark was my hair was blue. And everybody would show up on social media every time I was getting my hair done to see what color it would be next. That was the most important thing they were looking for.
Exactly. Well, let me see. There's not much hair there, though.
No, it's blonde.
Oh, it is blonde. Oh, that's why it's blonde.
Yeah,
I'm getting a weird.
yeah,
thing around
that's
your head.
because that's because I have that cool background behind me.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like it's going weird colors. Blonde and blues on top of your head.
Yeah,
really weird. I can't tell where your head is almost.
I know, right? And see, it's funny. At one point, my hair was the color of the vinyl on your album there.
Right.
So,
Well, see, I had black and purple hair for years. Black and purple, and finally, like 4 years ago, my wife said, "Aren't you getting sick and tired of dyeing it? Because
it's
my
a
hair
lot
was
of work,
black,
right?
and then you had to dye it blonde, and then you had to put the color in. It takes 6-7 hours every time." I said, "You know what? Yeah, I am tired of it. So why don't you just let it go?" So my hairdresser let it go from the top down. She had purple in there. Purple got bigger and bigger, but this purple easily washes out. So by the time it covered my whole head, we just washed it out.
Yeah.
And I was silver. And my wife said, well, my hairstyle that I had, so you look like Maud from TV. I said, great, thank you. So she said, comb it back. So I combed it back, and I said, I don't like the fact it's all silver. So we started putting black streaks in it. So now I got the silver with black streaks. I'm going Saturday to put some black streaks back, because as you can see from here back, it's grown that much,
Yeah,
and
I'm with you, man.
People love my hair. Now people love my hair. They say, oh, your hair is wonderful. It's beautiful. And I love the style. You look great. Blah, blah, blah. You look younger. I said, wow, great. So I don't mind. It's easy to take care of now. I just comb it back, put some gel in it.
It's a lot of work the other way, right? Like the blue.
Yeah.
I used to go on tour and have to bring my own pillowcase and my own towel, because I didn't want to ruin anybody's crap.
Black pillowcase, black towels, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And then it's funny you said about the purple, because last year I'm going to Welcome to Rockville in a few days to cover that festival. And last year at that festival, I met this hairstylist. She does like all the rock bands at the festival. So I had her do my hair while I was doing an interview of the band she was there with. And
that's cool. Well, it's easier for you. You got blonde hair.
Well, no, my hair is naturally it's naturally all really gray, but it's natural. It used to be naturally dark. So yes, I have to go, like, this color is more my color, so I have to go and I have to get it bleached and then put the blue on and get the whole process just like you described. So she did it, and I said, do whatever you want. I don't even care. I wasn't even paying attention. I was doing the interview, and she did black, blue, pink, and purple.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I mean, the other day I saw a young girl we were talking about, for my rod show. We're still figuring out the merch, because there's a lot more women. The only shirts we have for men is the Sex Police shirts and hats. That Rod we used to run around with that, and somebody had a woman, we go up to hallway Sex Police, where the sex, and then when you heard that coming, if you had a woman, you tell her, be quiet. You don't want them to bust your room up, But I'm trying to figure out what colors, for women. So I said, maybe we should get a pink hoodie with the Rod logo on there. That might look cool. So my merch girl says, yeah, maybe good. So we walk into the service station. There's a young girl wearing a pink hoodie, streaks of pink in her hair, and blonde and blue. And it looks so cool. I told her, I said, wow, you look cool. She goes, your hair looked cool. She goes, thank you so much, But the pink hoodie looked great. So now we're testing at the Chicago show we're doing now next week. We go to 3 hoodies, and medium, large, and extra large in pink with the zipper,
Nice.
with the Rod the Show logo here, which is like a set of lips with a guy that looks like Rod with a mic holding like Rod would be. If you go to rodtheshow.com, you see what I'm talking about. Anyway, so it's pretty cool.
That is cool. And so with this new album too, Temple of Blues 2, you brought back people that were in the first Temple of Blues, but then you have some new additions too.
Yes.
And I think it's cool the variety of people you have, because You have somebody like Bumblefoot, you have somebody like Nugent, but then you have somebody like Alex Skolnick and
Yeah,
Rudy
Alex.
Sarzo and
He
Tracii
was a
Guns.
surprise. Rudy was on the last one, but Alex was the surprise one because I had his number. And I called him. I said, "Hey, dude, we're going to do this Cactus album. We did the one. I explained what it is. I'd like you to be on it." He goes, "Yeah, man, no problem." When you do an album like this, everybody has to get the same amount of money.
Yeah.
You can't have one guy get 800 and one guy get 300, and the other guy get 200. So everybody got the same money across the board, And I say, favorite nations, of course. We got to get releases from everybody. And after we do it, you got to sign a release, no problem. So Alex was, yeah, let's go. And then when I heard what he did, I said, oh my God, this guy's a freaking monster. I mean, I heard him with Testament, but when you hear him playing your music, you get to see how great he is, because he's not in his element.
Yeah.
He's out of his element. And that's what a great musician is. When you can play out of your element and still be great, that's a sign of a great musician.
I think so too, because, it's easy when you're doing your own element because you're used to it. It's a habit. You don't even think about it. When you got to go do something different, you really got to dig deep.
Yeah. That's why, I do these sessions for Cleopatra. I did Hush by Deep Purple. They're doing a tribute to Purple. I did Hush. I did some other things. Now, this week, they just sent it today. I'm going to do a track, Crazy Train, with William Shatner.
Wow.
Captain Kirk is talking over it. So
pretty
cool.
I can't wait for that.
I like doing different things, And look at my career, Vanilla Fudge to Cactus to BBA to Ted Nugent to Rod Stewart to Ozzy, It's all different music, but I keep playing the same way. But I adjust myself to the music.
That's what makes you a great musician.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I'm going to tell you something funny. I don't know if you know this or not, because our studio was in Wellington, Florida for like 18 years. And right across the street from our studio, there was this place called the Gypsy's Horse. It's now some Indian place now, but there used to be this tribute show there all the time, Hot Rod. And it would be so funny because the women from Wellington would all show up there, be packed, and they would act like he really was Rod Stewart, like they were fawning all over him.
Yeah, we're playing at the Boca Black Box, my Rod show, June 14th. We're doing 2 shows there in one day.
Nice.
That show kills. That show kills. Like I said, look at the website. Rod, when I told Rod what we're doing, I said, everybody was calling it a tribute. It's not a tribute with me in it. And Catcher, who played with Rod 14 years. If you see a beautiful blonde chick on the sax with Rod, that was her. And between her and me, we had 21 years that we played with Rod.
Right.
And differences, when I was with him, was Rod Stewart group. We wrote songs. I produced stuff with the background vocal. We had percentages of the road. It was not Rod and the group.
Right.
So we were part of it. So I tell stories in the show. We have a background video. It starts with Rod, what he is, how he started, how I ended up in his band, and then she was in his band. And then you got Rob Cottle plays Rod, starring Rob Cottle as Rod Stewart. It's like a show, and it's all women. We played in the villages, the villages.
Totally.
Like 1,000, 1,200 people when we do the show. And
they're probably freaking out at the villages. They probably love it.
They love it. They love it. And we're going to video that show, I think, on June 14th. And then we drive down here and we come play at the Black Box, 2 shows there. So it's 300 people. We do like average over 500 people everywhere we go. So we figured we can play 2 shows at the Black Box. It's just a nice video. It has really nice screens behind it. We'd be able to probably do 2 shows and either sell out or come close to selling both out. That's why we decided to do it. I wanted to play the Parker Playhouse, but it never happened yet. But I think if we do this and we do well down here, then we can move the next time to the Parker Playhouse or something like that. My friend Liberty DeVito plays there with his Billy Joel show.
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
His show's okay, but my show is a show. They just play the songs. My show's a show. We tell stories. When we do Hot Legs Fire, it comes up from my drums. We got confetti at the end. We got everyone singing "Do You Think I'm Sexy?" and that singing Maggie May. I mean, that guy Rob Cottle gets everybody singing just like Rod Stewart does.
I love it.
That's why I'm playing with him. I feel like I'm back with Rod. So when I sent Rod the fact that we're not calling it a tribute or anything, we're calling it Rod the Show, a celebration of Rod, a celebration of music and legacy of Rod Stewart. So I sent that to him. And he sent back an email and said, I'm honored. I said, wow, I'm honored that you're honored.
Nice.
And in the promotion, in the background video, as it comes up, it says that Rod was honored that we are doing the show, So kind of endorsed by Rod. So it's way beyond like this singer, he knows every outfit Rod ever had.
Wow.
We sent a picture to Rod and said, man, what do you think? He looks like you. He goes, man, he looks like me. He dresses like me. And he's got real hair. It's not a wig.
Right.
And then Cactus said, and he sings like you. And he does. He sings like Rod. Some people who we video, it's on the website, said, I saw Rod and I saw this show, and this show is better.
Wow.
How about that?
Everybody's got to go then. And you also have a show coming up here in May.
Yeah, May 16th, we got Vanilla Fudge coming to the Boca Black Box. And, and we just finished 10 days. So this is like good. It's 2 weeks later. We're playing the Boca Black Box. We're tight. And then I got a couple of weeks off. I'm going to St. Martin with my wife because we have a house down there that she rents. So we got to go down there 3 or 4 times a year, And people go, oh, that's great, vacation. Yeah, it's not vacation. We go down there and fix stuff. And instead of here, I usually face the other way with my computer, but I'm doing it this way so I have a background instead of a television, Yeah. And basically, I sit there and look out at a canal and a lake. Down there, I do the same stuff looking out at an ocean.
Exactly.
And we go out to eat and enjoy ourselves. And then once I come back from that, then we come back on the 7th, and we got the 13th. I go up to the Villages, and then the 14th we come down, play here. And I was going to do a clinic at Jalupis. You know what Jalupis is?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to do that, but they want to do it outside. I said, no, I don't want to do that. So we'll do it next time. And then I got some time off. I think we're going to do some Cactus in July and beginning of August. And then we start up again with the Rod Show in August and different things. I have a bucket list thing I'm doing. It's me playing with the Colorado Springs Symphony Orchestra, Philharmonic Orchestra, playing 4 Rod songs and telling some stories.
I love it.
How about that? That's like going to be so cool. We played
That
with my Rod
that would
show.
be fun.
We did with my Rod show. We did an orchestra in California gig, and my friend's son, who's a musical genius, is at NYU doing all composing and all that now. And he was at 16. He wrote all the charts for a 50-piece orchestra, all the Rod Stewart songs that we did in the Palm Desert Symphony Orchestra with the Rod show. And it was fantastic. But this one's just me. That's my bucket list. Just me. No band. Me.
Let's make that happen. I think we need to make that happen.
They got my friend that was the guy that funded the foundation that funded the Cactus show. He gave money to the symphony orchestra, and I've been talking to them about the Rod show, and they said, "Look, we're doing a show called the Knights Show." The Knights meaning Paul McCartney knighted, Elton John knighted, Rod Stewart knighted, and I think somebody else. And they got 4 singers from Broadway are going to be singing it. So it's going to be like a stiff upper lip, I can't play in a suit, but
I can't imagine playing drums in a suit. by the
No, I
way.
used to do in the old days. If you look at the Ed Sullivan Show, I'm playing with a red velvet jacket, and going
Yeah, I
crazy.
can't even imagine that. It's tough enough with any clothes on.
It's tough. It is tough. But yeah, so a lot of good things going on.
I love it. And everybody's got to check out Temple of Blues 2. It's killer. I listened to the whole album and it is killer. I love it. I can't believe all these years later you're still putting out some great music and doing great shows. So thank you for giving me a lifetime of great music and everybody else too.
Thank you.
And
well,
thanks
you know what? I refuse to do crappy music. If I'm going to do a record, it's going to be good. Any record I do, whether it sells or not, it's going to be great. There's stuff you probably never even heard of because the label never did that. It's that thing called a Peace Perdomo project. It's all instrumental with this guy, Fernando Perdomo, who's a really talented musician. He plays bass, guitar, piano, drums. And we did this instrumental album. And we got like Billy Sheehan on it and Bumblefoot and Derek Sherinian on it. And it's killer. We did 2 records. You probably never heard of any of them.
I didn't. Yeah. And now I'm going to have to look for them.
Check out this one song. It's called Drum City.
Okay.
Carmine Appice and Fernando. And what it is, I did some paintings with a friend of mine who is an artist. He does like children's looking art, So I did a bunch of artwork with him and we renamed them. So one of them is called Drum City, where I drew a city out of drums. And then he would colorize it, all these beautiful colors, pinks and purples and everything. So when we did the song Drum City, I named it Drum City, and we did the video. Like you got that background, the whole background was all my paintings.
Wow.
Drum City, we did like the Leaning Tower of Drumza, Drumhenged,
That's brilliant.
And they're beautiful colors. And I've sold some bunch. I've sold some stuff in stores in New York and everything. We did some of that. And one thing called Drumhead, which is a floor tom with a head in it, the eyes and the mustache, with all notes coming out of it. But it's beautiful. You can look it up, Carmine Appice, and Ed Heck artwork, So we did the Drum City video with me and him. And we animated it. Like I had little cars in the thing. And when the editor said, I can animate the cars for another $400, I said, do it. So you got the cars are animated. You got Drum City, Brooklyn and Manhattan. And you have a hi-hat is the bridge going over the Hudson. And you got, my partner's over there. I'm on top of a building somewhere. And my partner's walking across the bridge. The cars are moving. It's killer. But you never heard it.
You're just you're an amazing artist all around, musician, artist, everything.
I love it.
And you definitely have impacted many lives. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you have new music. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Want to say something funny?
Yeah.
We met this girl that came to the gigs, a woman from Japan. She's got Carmine Appice on the menu. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool.
Right? So, like I said, please take a look at my restaurant menu. You look at, and drumming inspired my menu. I turn your ears into flavors. So, this is like heavy metal me,
That's great.
And then you got the menu, like this here is a mustache nan. It's like, must be like an Indian restaurant,
That's wild.
And she came to the gig wearing Guitar Zeus shirts. And here's another one called, what's this one called? Mustache HB Nan, inspired from Carmine Appice. You see that? It's unbelievable. So she flew in from Japan to see 2 Vanilla Fudge gigs. She did the VIP. First day she comes in with all this Carmine stuff on. She has a Guitar Zeus. She has a Carmine drum key. She has Carmine this, Carmine that, Boy, I get no money for it, but it's on the internet. And then the next day she comes with a fantastic Carmine t-shirt with all different pictures of me embroidered in one picture, and beautiful colors. And she had all this other stuff, and she has the menu. I said, wow, this is crazy, But that's what they do in Japan. Like there was a club, a nightclub, like a drinking club where they had bands called BBA from my Beck Bogan Appice. It was a BBA club. I called it, amazing. Japan was amazing. But,
they love their music over there.
They love their music over there. She was a beautiful girl. I thought she was 20. She was like 44 years old.
Wow.
And these women don't get married young over there, And I
Maybe
married
that's
her.
why they stay looking young.
I had a Japanese wife for 5 years.
Oh, really?
Beautiful, beautiful. They know how to treat a man. Let's put it that way.
Well, there you go.
There you go. But I love it. I mean, with the studio in there, I just walk through, turn on the computers, the drums are there, they never move. The humidity's the same, the AC is the same, they sound the same. I can record something today, go in next week and fix it. Doesn't change sound.
Nice.
I engineer it myself now, and then I give the drums to my engineer, Pat Regan. He makes it sound fantastic,
Well, the new album definitely sounds fantastic for sure. And
Thank you.
And thanks a lot for being on the Adventures
Everybody go
Pipeman.
out and buy it so we can hit the charts again.
There it is.
Charts, okay?
They can't listen to my show unless they go out and buy it.
That's right. I agree. Cool, man.
Thanks a lot.
See you May 16th. Come down see the fudge.
Definitely.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.